Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, it's a big diplomatic win for the Modi government. The wheels of justice are finally moving, with India bringing back 26/11 Mumbai terrorist attack conspirator Tahawwur Rana, who has the blood of 166 people on his hands and is being extradited from the United States and is expected to land in India tomorrow morning. A close aide of David Headley, Rana played a crucial role in plotting and facilitating the worst terror attack on Indian soil. He tried every trick in the book to evade his extradition to India. But through the Indian government's relentless effort since 2019, he will now face the law in India. Rana will be extradited in a private aircraft due to security reasons. It's a special aircraft that would need refueling somewhere in Europe before it lands here in New Delhi. Let's now take a quick look at what's expected to happen when he lands in New Delhi. It is NIA that is, of course, going to first and foremost take him to their headquarters here in the national capital. There will then be a medical examination of Tahawwur Rana, which is, of course, a compulsory legal procedure. Then there will be a court hearing via video link. Remember that given that he's a high security or a high risk accused, certainly not going to be taken physically to court, NIA is also going to seek maximum custody as far as Tahawwur Rana is concerned. He will then remain in NIA custody once the court grants the custody. Of course, we'll have to wait for the court's decision in that regard. But his final destination will be Tihar jail, where there are special arrangements being made for Tahawwur Rana. These are, of course, some AI-generated representative images of Tahawwur Rana possibly in Tihar jail. Let's quickly also get you some of the big news that we've accessed in terms of the probe details, which reveal the conversations that Rana had with David Headley. Tahawwur Rana told Headley that attackers involved in the Mumbai attacks should receive Pakistan's highest posthumous military honors. In the late summer of 2009, Rana and Headley agreed that funds had been provided to Rana, which could be used to fund Headley's work in Denmark, and the evidence showed that Rana pretended to be Headley in sending a mail to a Danish newspaper. That's the information that we have at this point of time, clearly showing what really was the intent as far as Tahawwur Rana is concerned. Bhavtosh is with us for more on this. Bhavtosh, we have accessed, of course, a lot of the details as far as the investigation is concerned. And this is Tahawwur Rana, who said that the 26/11 attackers should be given the highest posthumous military honors, clearly showing what his intent was and what kind of mindset Tahawwur Rana really had.
Yes, Madhav, what had happened actually after 26/11 is that they were not hiding. They actually got emboldened, and the mails that they had with each other, the conversation they had with each other was in fact very diabolical. And Tahawwur Rana and Headley were in direct touch with each other. They wanted to carry out an attack, in fact a very audacious attack in Denmark. They wanted to kill the journalist of Denmark newspaper and also attack the Denmark embassy in Denmark. Now, what they wanted to do was to recce and carry out a reconnaissance there. In one of the conversation was that Rana wanted to, in fact, give highest military honors to those who had carried out 26/11. This has, in fact, been mentioned in the FBI documents that were submitted before the Department of Justice. Another thing that he has mentioned was that Headley told him that he should use his identity while going to Denmark, because he knew that his cover has been blown up and that he should in fact travel there. David Headley Coleman then went to Denmark. He in fact carried out the same kind of reconnaissance, and then it was only in October 2009 that he was detained at the airport. Now, what it clearly shows was that he was in direct touch with Ilyas Kashmiri. Ilyas Kashmiri was in fact killed in 2011. He was killed in a drone attack. But Ilyas Kashmiri is the person who was brain behind 26/11 as much as Sajid Mir. Sajid Mir, in fact, first came to Delhi in 2005 on the pretext of attending a cricket match.
Bhavtosh, I'm going to come to all of those big figures whose names were there, part of the investigation. Several of those who were the plotters, the masterminds behind the execution of the 26/11 terror attack. Stay with us, but we have some more breaking news coming in at this point of time. Now, this is as far as the US Department of Justice is concerned. Sources there have pointed out how in a post-arrest statement in October 2009, Rana admitted that Headley had attended training camps that Lashkar operated in Pakistan. Headley testified that he attended these training camps on 5 separate occasions between 2002 and 2005. In late 2005, Headley received instructions from members of Lashkar to travel to India to conduct surveillance, which he did 5 times, leading up to the Mumbai attacks 3 years later. In the early summer of 2006, Headley and 2 Lashkar members discussed opening an immigration office in Mumbai as a cover for his surveillance activities. Let's quickly, in fact, take you through some more breaking news coming in. And while Rana is being brought up to India to face the law, there are a host of other terrorists who've been charge-sheeted by the NIA but continue to be shielded by Pakistan. Let's take a look at some of them. These are the names that we're talking about. Hafiz Saeed, in 2020, awarded 78 years of imprisonment. Pakistan continues to shield them, protected by ISI as well as special commandos. That's the case as far as Hafiz Saeed is concerned. He often is seen in public there in Pakistan, but really in terms of handing him over to India, very little that Pakistan has spoken about. Zakiur Rahman Lakwi, another big name. In 2021, he was sentenced to 15 years in jail. He is the person who central agencies say openly coordinates LET activities there in Pakistan. There's Sajid Mir as well, who Bhavtosh was mentioning earlier. In 2005, he visited Delhi to watch the India-Pakistan cricket match. That was, of course, a recce match that he carried out, a recce visit that he carried out during that match. And that, of course, is also of the National Defence College, which was also surveilled by him. Pakistan claims that he's in jail, but whereabouts at the moment are not known as far as Sajid Mir is concerned. Also, Major Iqbal, who trained 2611 terrorists, including David Headley. They were all trained by this individual, Major Iqbal. He's never faced prosecution in Pakistan despite his well-known role. There's also Abdul Rahman Hashim Said. He's an LET commander whose whereabouts are unknown. There is also Ilyas Kashmiri. Links with Al-Qaeda and LET of Ilyas Kashmiri are known. He's another person who trained David Headley and is believed to have died in a drone attack. These are the long list of individuals who are associated with this particular case. And let's quickly take this across to our guest now. Joining us with us is Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, who's a defense expert. We have PK Jain, former ADG Special Operations and Joint CP of Mumbai Police. Professor Madhav Nalapat is also with us. He's a Vice Chair of the Manipal Advanced Research Group. Ashok Sajanar, former ambassador, is with us. Let me start first and foremost with you, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. While this is a huge diplomatic victory, the fact is that this is perhaps just the beginning of what India needs to get in terms of justice for the 2611 victims, because the list, of those who are involved in planning, plotting and executing this attack and those training the terrorists is very long, as we have just read out. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni.
Thank you, Madhav. Definitely a huge diplomatic success. If anybody, I think your viewers, most of them would know, David Headley is also known as Daud Gilani, whose brother Daniel Gilani was the spokesperson of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Gilani. At the same time, in 2008, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who was thrown out for corruption charges later in 2012, David Headley's real brother, Daniel Gilani, was his private secretary and a spokesperson for him, who Daniel later became the spokesperson and representative of Pakistan in Beijing. So now you know the connection and you know how Pakistan uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy. Now, Tahawwur Khan and, now David Headley. David Headley, because his name that he took from his mother, because of his white skin and blue eyes, got away and forged the passport as called son of William Headley. So nobody really got to know who this character was, and he managed to go through it. Now, Tahawwur Khan is a Pakistani army officer, a doctor by profession, who he and Tahawwur Rana, Pakistani officer, a medical officer, and Headley were classmates. And therefore the connection and the brainwashing of it being done by none other than Hafiz Saeed. And here you find now the connection, one after the other. Everybody knows how Qureshi, the foreign minister, was in India, was then told that he must leave India immediately. They were all involved, totally involved. Pakistan deep involvement, because fortunately at that point of time when you mentioned Madhav about NDC, I was doing my course at the National Defence College at that time when this particular incident was happened, and how we all got to know of David Headley and Kashmiri and Saeed Mir and everybody. So there is definitely a deep involvement and therefore a great success. In 2013, David Headley has been imprisoned for 35 years. He get access to Headley in 2010. It's taken 2025 to get him only extradition to India.
Absolutely. About a decade and a half later, but better late than never, many would say, particularly given that this was perhaps the worst attack that we've seen on Indian soil. I want to just bring in Professor Madhav Nalapat on that. Professor Madhav Nalapat, the role of this individual Tahawwur Rana, the very fact that he wanted the highest military honors to be given to those who carried out the terrorist attacks here in India just goes to show the kind of mentality, and also, of course, the diabolical conversations as my colleague Bhavtor Singh was describing that he had with David Headley goes to show that here is an individual who not just actively supported David Headley in all of his anti-India activities, but also later discussed, the fallout as far as this entire terrorist attack is concerned, very clearly indicating what was going on in his mind.
Look, one thing that has come out of this, Madhav, for such a long time, Pakistan has got a free pass, despite being a breeding ground for terror. And it has got a free pass. Hardly any action has been taken against any Pakistani military official or any other top official. No sanctions have been imposed by any country, quite frankly. I mean, India has been trying for some time, but it has so far not succeeded. I think now that these facts have come out, and now that they're going to be corroborated by a witness, I think it's going to be very difficult for the rest of the world to ignore the reality of Pakistan terror. Because Pakistan terror, as you've seen, it did not only strike India, it struck different parts of the world. And so far as 26/11 is concerned, please remember, it was not only Indian nationals who were targeted, it was also foreign nationals in the Taj Hotel, an iconic hotel, and in the Trident, foreign nationals as well. And this is very important because till then, foreign nationals and foreign countries believed that they were safe, including in India, barring a stray incident here and there. But that reality was shattered by 26/11. Another facet of 26/11 is the attack on the Shabad House, which is a Jewish house of meditation and reflection. It's a very noble Jewish institution, and there's a beautiful Shabad house in Mumbai. And the reality is that they were targeted. So it's not only foreigners in general, but Jews in particular who were targeted. And this indicates the mindset of the ISI. The mindset is the same as those of Hamas, Hezbollah, and I'm sorry to say, the clerical regime in Iran, which refused to accept the reality of the state of Israel. Right. And frankly, where Hamas and Hezbollah are concerned, they refuse even to accept that the Jewish people have a right to exist. If you look at the propaganda of Hamas from the very beginning, it's very clear. The Jewish people have no right to exist. Now, my point is, where will the rest of the world, barring India, hide now that all these facts have come to light? Where will they? Madhav.
Yes, please stay on with us. I also want to bring in Ashok Sajjanar. Ashok Sajjanar, is this the end of the road, Ashok Sajjanar, or is this the beginning? Because after long last, we have Tahawwur Rana now in India's custody, hopefully over the next 24 hours that should happen, now that he has been released from that prison facility there in Los Angeles. The larger question, though, is that what can India further do to bring those perpetrators? Remember, we have given dossier after dossier to Pakistan, but nothing in terms of response that's coming from Pakistan's side. How can India take this issue further, diplomatically speaking? Ashok Sajjanar.
Thank you very much, Madhav. I don't think as far as Pakistan is concerned, whatever Tahawwur Rana might say, that is going to have any impact on Pakistan. It'll be like water off the duck's back. So, I don't think we should expect anything. Because even when earlier we have told Pakistan that he is a part of your establishment, your security establishment, Pakistan has, feigned ignorance and said that he is not a Pakistani national, he's a Canadian national, he has nothing to do with Pakistan. But now we see that recently, appealing to the US Supreme Court, he said that he is a Pakistani Musliman, and so he fears that he will not be treated justly if we were to be brought to India. And that's why he had sought refuge in the United States, saying that his extradition to India should be cancelled, should be, should not be honored. He should be allowed to stay back. So, as far as Pakistan on its own is concerned, nothing is going to happen. But let me add a couple of things here. Number one, all that of course, we know all the major plotters and planners who were behind 26/11, but I think there were so many others from the armed forces, from the ISI, from the Lashkar, who were involved in it. I think we can get to the bottom of all that. And we need to bring it to the attention not only of Pakistan, but of the international community. And bring it to their attention that Pakistan still continues to use terrorism as an instrument of its foreign policy. It uses, meaning if it is equating, as far as Tahawwur Rana is concerned, it's equating terrorists with the freedom fighters, that this is the highest awards for freedom fighters need to be given to these people, to the terrorists who were involved in the Mumbai attacks. Then this speaks of the mindset of the ISI, the security establishment of Pakistan.
Right.
So, bring it to the attention of the global community and try to ensure that Pakistan is made to pay once, possibly by putting it again under the FATF, so that, these things don't happen in future.
Okay.
Last sentence here, Madhav, is that also the sleeper cells that would have existed in India, because, all this choice of the venues where the attacks took place, whether it is the Kabad House, it is basically, it was targeting foreigners, because ISI and Pakistan wanted to send out a message to the world that India is not a safe place. India is not safe for business.
Absolutely, and David Headley had a major role to play in that, but that's why I want to bring in PK Jain. Mr. Jain, as an investigator, we do know that NIA is, of course, going to take Mr. Tahawwur Rana into custody. They will be questioning him. A decade and a half later or more, is there anything that you believe Tahawwur Rana can actually shed light on in terms of what actually transpired as far as the plotting of 26/11 is concerned?
Good evening, Madhav. Thank you very much for having me here. Yes, very much. It's been a long battle for the government of India to get Tahawwur Rana. And fortunately, finally, the courts in US have agreed to repatriate him or hand him over to the government of India. See, there are 2-3 takeaways from this particular incident. One is, we have to, as one of my predecessor panelists has said, that it is important to show to the world. How much does it make a difference? I don't know, because the world has been in denial mode ever since Pakistan has been a rogue country, or they are harboring terrorists and they are promoting terrorism. Yet it will show to the world community that Pakistan is the harbinger of terror. They nurture terrorists and they cause terrorist activities all over the world, and more so in India. So we will be able to prove that. Secondly, Tahawwur Rana was very well networked into the ISI and the government of Pakistan. So his bringing back to India and his interrogation may reveal the sleeper cells, the handlers, who are the people who are complicit in this thing in India, in Pakistan. All those things may come out. It has been a long time, but our intelligence agencies and our NIA is extremely competent. So I'm sure that they are going to dig out this information from Tahawwur Rana. Otherwise, ISI and Tahawwur Rana and the government of Pakistan would not have pumped millions of dollars to keep Tahawwur Rana out of the reach of Indian agencies. So I think he is of importance, and it will be very, very important that he is kept safe. He's interrogated properly. A lot of information is taken out from him. And he will not only be instrumental in giving information about how 26/11 happened, but also what is happening all over India and what is being plotted, planned by our hostile country, by our hostile neighbor. I think all those things may come out during the interrogation part of it.
Right.
And one more thing which I would like to say, I think a message is going across to the international community also, that India is no longer the India it used to be. It will chase its enemies to the last mile and catch them and drag them back to India to face the judicial system in this country.
Right. Many would also ask, Professor Nalapat, that, in a situation like this, while we've spoken about the role of Tahawwur Rana in terms of aiding David Headley himself, has been behind bars in the United States. Are we going to now press for that? Is that something that is practically possible? Do you envisage that happening in the future?
Well, Madhav, I'd like to say that yes, we have submitted dossier after dossier to Pakistan. The fact is, the Pakistanis have not been interested in basically stopping these networks from functioning. Some of our governments, not the present government certainly, which is very skeptical, but some of the previous governments took Pakistan at face value, and they gave dossiers which frankly allowed the Pakistanis, the ISI in particular, to identify those people who were formally or informally, more likely informally as friends, reporting about this kind of a terror network, and then immediately these people are rounded up. So as a result of the dossiers, almost after every, the Pakistanis keep demanding more and more dossiers. In good faith, more and more were supplied. As I said, all that changed under Narendra Modi, but it is a regrettable thing that happened earlier. And every time a large number of dossiers was handed over to Pakistan, you had people who were caught and frankly tortured, made to confess falsely or whatever, and executed.
Right. We'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us, Professor Nalapat, P.K. Jain, as well as Deputy General Sanjay Kulkarni and Ashok Sajanar. Perhaps this is the first big step, and India is certainly sending out a message, not just to Pakistan, but the entire world, that India will go after any such individual who is inimical to India's interests and carries out such dastardly terror attacks. We'll have to leave it there, slipping into a quick break for now.